These Walls Could Talk. I am Wendy Stuart.
And I'm Tym Moss.
And we're dancing for you today on this wonderful Wednesday. How are you, Tim?
I'm good. I'm real good.
It's fabulous to be here with everybody today. You know, I don't deal with the winter well. I know I can share that.
I love the winter.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, I love.
Oh my God, I never knew that about him. I am blonde. I'm a summer girl. You love the snow?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my God, it's so depressing.
And we haven't had any this past couple of years.
We haven't had any.
We had some this year for what? 5 hours, I think.
Oh my God, he even timed it. Well, I was timing it too, and I'm like, I hate the freaking snow. I love summer. I love everything about summer. The light, the heat. I love the heat. I love the humidity, all of it. But you know what? I am getting through the winter, and I'm going to tell you how I'm getting through the winter. I am working my butt off.
Yes, you are. Yes,
that is the way to. I had the wonderful experience to make a music video. And I had pre-recorded the video with Icavelli. It's for a song that he, how shall I say, changed the words on. We call that a parody. And we went.
Which he's very good at.
He's freaking brilliant. And Icavelli is so funny. So he wrote this song and we went to New Jersey and recorded it, like Perth Amboy. I have never been there. It is far. It's not far from Princeton or South Amboy or
it's not that
the
far.
Amboys. And then he's like, listen, we're going to do this video. We're going to shoot it in Times Square and it's going to be in February. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, every nut in the world will be out and it's going to be cold. And it did not disappoint. Every nut in the world was
and cold.
It was nuts and cold, but I have to tell you, you know, everyone is saying there's no police presence anymore. Yes, there is, because they're in our video. It wasn't hard finding a cop that night at all. Isn't it amazing?
Well, that's good to hear.
Right. It is all really good to hear. And our brilliant friend Dorothy Bishop had her show, A Dozen Divas at the Triad. That is
such an incredible show.
She's like the funniest woman in comedy right now. I'm pulling up the rear, but I have to say she is hilarious. And she does call herself an impersonator, but she impersonates.
She's basically a drag queen with a vagina.
Right, she is, and she's so. Oh my God, she does Judy, she does Cher, she Barbara, Madonna.
I love her Kristen Chenoweth. Oh my
God, her Kristen. Right. The other thing I have to tell you about Dorothy Bishop, her humor it's twisted. It really is. She did
kind of humor.
A duet with Judy Garland where it was a video and Dorothy's head was blown up for the entire video, looking just like Judy. Like I'm looking at him like, how did she get that video with Judy? It's a giant bubble head. And then Dorothy gets up there with a mic and sings with it. It's just,
it is brilliant.
She has another show coming up and I believe it's March 29th.
Yeah, I think so.
Right. Because it's a week after Night of 1,000 Gowns. If you're watching this, please come. We have so many great performers, including Kobe Cole, our own Kobe Cole. Yeah. So please come to Night of 1,000 Gowns. That's March 23rd. We'll all be fabulous. Decked in rhinestones.
Absolutely.
But Tim is leaving me. Tell everyone what you're doing. We're not going to see you.
Yes, actually, I'll be out for 2 weeks. I'm going to Paris. I'm going to be in Paris for 2 weeks. Well, for about 10 days.
And this is your first time, though.
My first time. I'm a total virgin. I'm going by myself. Don't know the language. Don't know the city. I'm just going to have a ball.
Parlez-vous français?
Un
peu. Well, you can say, oui, je parle français. Oh, that was a terrible French. Je parle. You can tell I'm from a borough.
No, but I've been practicing and learning a little bit of French, enough to get me around. So
okay,
I can find the bathroom. I can,
the gay bar, the bathroom.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Do you need anything more than that? Right.
And I'm good.
Right. I'm good to go. What else is going on in your life?
Oh my goodness.
Like I know you're so busy.
I've got several big projects coming up that I'm very excited about, and I'm working a little bit at a time here and there, and trying to get everything underway before I leave.
Tim is trying to get his ducks in a row, quack, quack, before he says au revoir to us.
Now, I also just want to mention that Wendy's husband, Alan, who is in the hospital right now, and just thoughts, prayers.
Yeah, please, thoughts
healing
and
energy,
prayers.
Whatever you do.
He's in ICU and he's got a very bad pneumonia. and many of you know he's had lung cancer for 2 years, and they really have kept him going. And the staff at Northwell Lenox Hill is really doing an incredible job to keep him going. I know people have asked about visiting him. I have been going over there, and I whisper gossip in his ear. He is heavily sedated, meaning he's in a medical coma. But you know what? I think he's hearing all the dish.
Oh yeah.
We always have so much stuff to like. Why is it? There's so much drama in everybody's life. Not us, Tim.
No.
Tim and I
Ours is very calm.
No, we have a very, very calm life. So, speaking of calm lives, our guest today, I was at the Readers and Writers Festival in Milford, Pennsylvania, which a lot of you know I am very involved there. I have a second home there, and I'm not there that much these days, but love the Readers and Writers Festival, and started talking to this very good looking guy. And you know, that's all it takes with me, and find out that he is an incredible playwright. And he was there with Charles Busch, the amazing Charles Busch, who's been on this show, who's going to be in Ibsen's The Ghost. And that's going to be opening March 9th or somewhere around then.
Yes.
At 59 East 15,
March 11th.
March 11th. And you can always check with us or go to Charles Busch's page. We love Charles Busch. So anyone that's a friend of Charles Busch is a friend of mine. So I started talking to our guest, and I loved what he's doing with playwriting. He also has an amazing background as a celebrity makeup artist. He's also an actor. You know what I call a true Renaissance person? But there was an incredible vibe that he gave off. And I thought to myself, gee, I want him on the show. He'd make a great guest. So please welcome Nathan Johnson. Oh my God! Wait, I'm having a trauma. Look at, oh my God! I'm welcoming our guest. I'm having a trauma. My purse. Oh, Nathan
saved the day.
I was saved by Nathan Johnson. Not only is he handsome, he saved me from my purse.
Nathan Johnson, right here.
Yeah, right here. Thank you, and thank you so much for being with us today.
I'm honored.
We're like, because I met you in September, right?
Yeah.
And I had Nathan's name down, and I try and book everything in advance because I'm a compulsive Capricorn, and I was glad he was free. You know, people aren't always free. Thank you for being here with us today. So you have done so much playwriting.
You know, want me to tell you how it started?
Yes, we love that. Yeah, take us back to the beginning.
Picture it. It was about 1995, and I was at Marymount Manhattan College, and the program is run by Pat Hoag Simon. If the name Simon sounds familiar to you, it will in a second. Her husband was the notorious theater critic John Simon.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And he would come, and he saw me in a lot of things, and he said, you're never going to have the career you deserve unless you write your own work.
Wow.
And this was...
So, I'm curious how you took that. You were what, 19 or 20?
I was horrified.
You are, right.
Just out of the Berkshires. My parents were paying I'm at a school way more expensive than I was supposed to be going to.
Right. I know what Marymount costs. It's in my neighborhood too. But it's a good theater department. That's why you were there.
Phenomenal. And that's exactly why I wanted to go. But when you're suddenly there for acting, and someone says you need to be writing plays, you're suddenly oh my God, I need another $100,000.
Right. No, I was like, oh my God, this is a lot of pressure. Right. I hear you.
There was that, and then I tucked it away, and the pandemic came around, and then a friend of mine, Michael Susko, who's a brilliant playwright and a great playwriting teacher, invited me into one of his playwriting classes, I went into his class, and then I've written, there's 4 complete plays that I've written.
Oh my God.
Because of this class.
Well, that, and then I started taking classes I took some classes with Marcia Norman and the Dramatist Guild and Lucy Wang and all kinds of, classes, Kate Moira Ryan. And the very first play I wrote was called Kazuri. And it was the very first submission I made, and it got a finalist position.
Oh my God.
So this is an amazing, really amazing
It's been kind of oddly fortunate, because all 4 of my plays that are not one of them is more than 3 years old, all have multiple finalist or winner positions.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
I mean, you know what,
That's
Nathan?
amazing.
Sometimes it takes a bit to find your own footing in the world, and that's obviously what's happening
Well, it
to
obviously
you, right?
just kind of you tapped into something that was that you've unleashed
to get forward, right?
Yeah, and that other people saw, like his wife, Pat, still to this day is one of my dear friends and mentors.
Right.
And she sent me a message the other day that says, "How does it feel to finally be doing what you were meant to be doing?"
Oh my God, it's like wow.
Now, as far as like acting in your plays,
I'm writing them for myself.
Okay, good.
Yeah, there was a workshop presentation of one that happened at the Chain Theater, and I was able to. I was in that.
Oh, good.
With William Ryle, who is a phenomenal Broadway veteran. He's in everything.
And you got to be in that.
Yeah, and it was William and I.
Wow.
And it was directed by Brendan Clifford.
So, do you feel like, Nathan, you're finally coming into your own? Would you put it that way?
You know, I think so. I think so, because with acting, I was always so self-conscious to go to auditions and things of that nature. And there was always this kind of, there's something about it that there would always be something. The judgmental aspect,
or something like a separation.
Yeah. And when
from the work,
my plays, and I send them to people, I'm not worried at all. You're either going to like it or you aren't.
Right.
And I have no self-esteem about it.
Because it's not the physical you up there. It's like, I can do stand-up as an MC for an audience because I'm not really doing stand-up, but I am. But if you put me like at the comic strip, it's like, shit, I can't do this. I'm too naked. Everyone's judging me. Oh my God, they know I'm not funny. They might, all those thoughts go in your head. As an actor, we talked about this.
Well, as an actor going into audition for somebody else's work, somebody else's story, somebody that's completely different. It's a completely different thing.
And they're looking at you, Tim, you know?
Yeah,
because it's judging you.
Absolutely. But from writing your own, so basically what the advice that you were given at Marymount was that you are a good actor, just you should be doing
you should do your own
stuff. What coming from your own soul.
And what was so fascinating is John said, he goes, I can only think of, and he was pretty much a dictionary of all things theater. He said, I can see one show that's perfect for you, and it was called My Fat Friend, and it was on Broadway in like the 60s, I believe. So I, of course, ran immediately to Lincoln Center and
got the
Xeroxed
it.
And I read it, and I'm like, oh my God, he's right. Oh my God, he's right. He's got my ticket.
What amazing insight. So did you learn monologues and stuff from
there? There wasn't really anything, it was kind of like good for scene work, but there wasn't really anything I could exactly.
But the character suited you.
Yeah, and I saw what he meant right then and
there.
What
was it about that character that you connect to?
There's this, of course you two know, that personality trait that queer people have where they can come in from the side, you know what I mean? And these little zingers, and it can be your absolute best friend, and you can talk to each other in this way that people on the outside would be like, why do you hate her so much? And, and she'd be like, he loves me. This is how we talk. You know what I mean?
I get that.
This character was written like that way at that time, which was so interesting to me. And it had that deep bond where they're almost going, you know what I mean?
But they loved each other. They still loved each other.
But they are inseparable.
Right.
Inseparable. And there's those moments where you think that their angst is going to rip them apart, but they're, you know what I mean? It's interesting.
What an insightful teacher that he knew that was a good character for you to learn.
Yeah, no, he did. And now that I write, it's like the way that I look at backstories for, it's like, I have a master's degree in classical acting from Columbia University, where I was with Kristen Linklater and Anne Bogart. And
I love the way Nathan just throws these little gems out there. That's freaking huge.
Well,
so run that by us again. Columbia University.
An MFA when I was there.
MFA.
Yeah, that's very hard to get. Yeah,
absolutely. And fine arts.
Even there, no matter how deep we would get into stuff, it's like, now that I'm writing it and I know these characters so well, I'm like, oh my God, I never ever got as deep as they really want you to.
Well, that's what I mean.
You have to be able to do.
That's what I mean as an actor. If somebody else is writing it, you have to kind of interpret your own way, but also rely on the director.
Exactly.
So it's not always innate, or it's not always
it's not as organic as your
deep.
own. Yeah, it can't be as deep as your own.
But that's what I'm curious about, is once you started writing and the depth of these characters that you could see clearly, you know, that you could now portray as an actor, because you connect so deeply with them.
Well, because
does that make sense?
Yeah. And then one of them I literally write for myself in my
Good.
own voice.
Good.
There you go. Write for yourself in your own voice. That's the ticket.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
I love that.
So, you have had, then, there is no surprise here how the playwriting would evolve, because you have all the underpinnings. Every single thing that you're telling me is the underpinning. You have the structure, you have the base, and you needed to go down deep. All right. So to get these 4 in a row that are all wonderful, I'm not at all surprised based on what your history that you're telling me. It's funny because I think you're surprised. You're like, shit, I won. Shit, I won again.
I'll be honest, like, I was surprised, but now I was surprised. And now what surprises me most are sometimes the ones that I'm like, that's tailor-made for me, and I don't even get a finalist position in it. Those are the ones that surprise me.
Of course.
And sometimes, you know what I mean? I'm like, this submission opportunity is literally exactly who I am and what I write for.
Right.
And I'm like, first round of rejections,
dismissed.
But I'm also learning that the people who read it the first time.
That's what I was going to just say.
Right.
I'm learning a lot as I get to know theaters and people. And the people you really need to read your work don't get it unless you make it past the certain gate.
Nathan, it is the exact same for authors. My daughter worked for a literary agent as a summer intern. She comes home with a giant shopping bag one day. I'm like, Kyle, what's that? Oh, it's a bag full of proposals for people's books. And I'm like, wait, you're supposed to like read? She says, yes, I'm supposed to read through these and decide, you know, what's going to go to the agent. That bag sat in the closet, period, over and out. Okay. And I'm like, are you ever going to read them? Well, yeah, I'll get around to them. Never got around to them. And these poor authors, there might have been jewels in there, but we would have never known that. Okay. And I think a lot of it is that.
And also that first round, like who is the first one that's reading it, and what are they going through that day?
Thank you.
Does it connect with them, or are they busy with something in their mind and not really focused on what they're reading and just dismiss it?
It's, it's all very much, to me, throwing spaghetti against the wall, because even filmmakers, all of these film festivals, and I was on a board of one myself and I saw this, we got all these submissions in, and I watched the person who's kind of in charge of it picking out which films he would look at based on the trailer, or worse yet, the poster.
Who, if he knows the filmmaker.
Oh, always. If you know the film,
if you're in.
Right. And
that's
same thing with plays.
I found out.
Same thing with plays, and same things with books.
Absolutely. Because when we were shopping junk around a film that I had starred in.
A very funny film.
And it became very obvious to me very early, especially the big, like Sundance and all the big ones. You have to know somebody inside. Otherwise, it will never get.
This is how it works.
And the way I described it to the director and the writer was, imagine that Sundance is Yankee Stadium, and the guy is standing in the middle on the pitcher's mound, and everybody, it's packed, it's filled, and everybody has a baseball in their hand. That's their movie. And everybody's just throwing it at him, hoping that he'll read it or he'll pick it up.
Yeah.
But if you know somebody that's in the dugout, and you can go down and go, hey, excuse me, listen, this is mine. Oh, here.
I love the baseball analogy.
That's
so clever. I love it. It's so American. It's just made it so clear, right?
But unless you can get it in, it's a lot of times it doesn't make that first. So it doesn't really matter the quality.
Right.
You can have the best, but if that person, the first person to read it, isn't in the mood to read it, or it doesn't connect with them,
100%. Yeah. And I'm a scrappy little.
You are a scrappy little SOB. So I was going to say that.
So I'm coming in from any side I can.
Yes,
I'm really
that's what you could.
To make relationships, to get to know people.
Absolutely.
And that I think is going to be my only way in this.
Absolutely. That works.
Like, what brought you to the Writers Festival in Milford, Pennsylvania?
Charles.
Okay, right.
Oh God, Charles Bush.
Right.
My beloved Charles
Our
Bush.
beloved Charles
Love
Bush
that
is
man.
a really great example. I read his book, Leading Lady, that took you from like Charles, who grew up in Westchester, right near Ferncliff Cemetery, where my family is buried. I knew I liked something about him, but it was all his early stuff. And I came to New York the same time Charles did. And I remember, you know, seeing signs for these crazy, to me, they were crazy shows. I was a different head then. And if you track Charles from then and to the amount of success, I mean, he just never stopped.
No,
because it's who he is inside.
And again, he also picked up on, he writes for himself too.
Absolutely.
That's right. He's the perfect example of that.
Good point.
And he doesn't just write for himself. Once he falls in love with his the band of people, he crafts the roles around them so that everybody will shine.
Absolutely. Right. He'll be like, oh, this person, when they come in, they'll be saying this.
And they shape it like he would, you know, of course, he and Julie Halston, my beloved.
I love Julie.
Julie Halston. Julie Halston's why I know Charles, because I was doing Julie's makeup forever. Julie connected me to Charles, and
so
links in a chain.
Links in a chain. I am really glad that you brought that up, because, you know, we're forced to wear many hats, right? Mm-hmm. Tim and I are not just podcasters, we're performers, we're comedians, he's a singer, but we all end up doing a lot of things. So you were doing makeup and you ended up
Julie Halston, and doing very
incredible with makeup. And Julie Halston, of course, was a client. But isn't it funny how the universe works? You know, you meeting her on that level, she directs you to Charles. And you know what?
And now Charles is one of my dearest friends and mentors.
And you're working with him.
And I'm working with him right now.
And again, what better education than to work on the job hand in hand with him.
And fascinatingly, because also Jamie DeRoy is a
who's been just on the show.
Jamie DeRoy is also, I do Jamie's makeup and have for a very long time. And you know, Jamie is also one of the producers of this show. And it's like all these there's so many people.
But that's how it has to work.
If I hadn't had a career, you know, in makeup that was, you know, as lucrative as it was, there's so many people that I would never have had access to that now are friends of mine.
But everything happens for a reason.
Think about that. You were supposed to have that career in makeup. That's what was supposed to happen. You weren't coming out of Columbia's MFA program. You weren't supposed to become the brilliant playwright when you graduated from there. You had to take the detour, and that's
there
what
were things I needed to learn.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you take the detour,
and also to get into that network,
right?
Because I just want to mention, while we're on the subject of makeup, I mean, because you've done the makeup for like Paul McCartney and Liza Minnelli, Alicia Keys,
Kate McKinnon, Leah Michelle, I forget. There's
Paula Abdul.
Yeah, Paula. I've done 800 or 900 super huge names, but I always
Annette Bening, Leah Michelle. You've beat a lot of faces, as we say.
Beat the faces.
I've beaten the faces of the famous. I beaten the faces.
But that's and that I know a lot of people who will focus. That's their main drive in life. That's their main thing. That's their main, where their heart is. And you managed to succeed at that, in that.
Good point.
But that is to just lead you into what your heart, where your heart truly is.
Yeah. I'll be honest. Makeup is and will always have a very special place with me. And I'll tell you this, no matter how far playwriting goes, there's certain people whose makeup I am going to forever be doing.
I love that. I love that.
Because I just wouldn't feel right. I wouldn't feel right if someone else was doing Charles, or someone else is doing Julie, or someone else is doing Jamie. Yes. You know, there's just people that I love so much that no matter what good fortune comes.
Go ahead.
You don't mess with perfection.
Oh, I love him.
Wait.
Don't mess with perfection.
I was going to ask, what would you do with this?
But you brought up a very good point, and I want to thank you for being loyal to these people that have affected your life. It's interesting. We had Jamie on the show, and Tim had called me up weeks before. He's like, we need to get Jamie DeRoy on. And I'm like, God, I said, Tim, you know where I knew that name from? When I used to buy Backstage in the 80s, and she had an ad in every week, Jamie DeRoy and Friends. And I always would, and it was year after year after year. And I would think, because I was pounding the pavement and I had just started, I'm like, how does she keep doing this? You know, Jamie DeRoy and Friends, Jamie DeRoy and Friends. And then she ends up, you know, my God, we're on the show. And then she has Tim and I, we go to Harmony, the show that she was one of the producers on. Amazing show. How fabulous to be affiliated. And now she's doing Ibsen's Ghost. I mean, you know, it's great.
Jamie
she is such a supporter of.
She's amazing.
Well, she's such a driving force of
there's
humanity.
Nobody like her.
Right? No, there's nobody. She is a driving
like
force.
her. She's so specific and she's so real. She's always herself.
Yes.
Like there's not a Jamie you see for the public.
Fake Jamie,
there's
right.
Jamie. You meet Jamie. You meet the same Jamie. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
You meet Jamie, and I think that's amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. Well, you know who that person is going to be. But once again, those are the people you end up working with. Charles Busch is always Charles Busch. He's just like,
I love him so
I know.
Right.
I know.
And just such a unique person.
Right.
Such a
very brilliant too. I have a respect for brilliance, and my God, he's so smart. You know?
He is so smart. And the thing about Charles is, I also believe, just as you said, that Charles is.
Can you rescue me again? Oh my God, I'm being attacked. Oh my God. Oh, it's not going so well.
No, it's going. It's just got to come this way.
Okay, so
wow, you are there. You go.
Okay, all right. I'm taking this thing off. It's attacking me.
Charles is like you were saying, he's very distinctly himself, but there are so many layers to him.
Right.
And the more I've gotten to know him,
the
it's like my favorite thing I will tell you with so many of these people I've had the privilege to work with. It's the moments we have that are quiet. That are my favorite. Right. When we're just able to be two human beings together, or three or four, however, you know what I mean?
Right.
Whoever's gathered together, and we can just talk and be human together, and it's
well, we call those, you know, the real moments. So, being that those real moments are so important to you, and you said a lot of your work, your plays are based from where you grew up.
Berkshires.
Yep. Yeah. And I grew up going there in the summers. What did that mean to you? Like, what was your life growing up in the Berkshire? You were in Chester, you said? Cheshire.
Yep.
Yeah. Didn't Daniel French have a gallery near there? Artist connected to, of course, Lenox and Pittsfield and Stockbridge. You grew up in I know you said you had one stoplight in your town.
And it blinked.
Right. And thank God, a blinking
now
stoplight.
They've upgraded to a 3.
That is one of the most, Tanglewood and all of that, such an artsy area.
Which is so funny.
What was it like for you there?
I was actually having a very interesting conversation the other day about this with somebody. It's almost like a Jekyll and Hyde place, because everybody thinks of it as the center of arts, and it is when all those people come in.
When the artists come in. Yes.
And then a lot of the other time, it's not as open-hearted and open-minded as you would hope. And not only then, but also now. I just recently found out that one of my high school best friend's daughter, who's in the school system in Lenox, on the same day, a swastika was carved into a wall,
in
and
Lenox.
Faggot was written
oh my God
across like a stream of lockers
in Lenox.
Wow.
Just like last year.
Right.
Wow.
So and I'm thinking that was last year. I graduated in 1994. That's what it was like then.
Right.
And Lenox is the place that I would have been a step up from.
I grew up going there summers. It was very high end, but during the year, right, when you don't have the influx of the arts and the music and all of that, it can revert to what I call hee-haw-dum.
There's a lot of hate.
But now, did you? How was it for you growing up there? Like, were you involved in the arts in school? Or?
I was. I got sucked in by a production of Little Shop of Horrors.
Hey,
you got me. You got me, gal. You got me.
It'll do it every time.
And I wasn't in that. That's what I saw. And I was suddenly, I know my calling.
Right.
There it is. And then the next year.
It's me.
And then the next year was Grease. And I was Eugene.
Oh, how fun.
You just knew.
Yeah.
So all right, at least
Sandy.
The school was supportive, right? And what was it? There wasn't.
No.
They still had a theater department, though, at least.
No, we were allowed to do 2 musicals, a musical once a year, I believe, and a senior play. Only seniors could be in the play.
Okay.
Seniors were in the play, and there was a musical every year.
Now, did you have an auditorium?
We had a beautiful auditorium, beautiful. And now the school's been redone, and they have 2.
Oh, jeez.
2. Yeah, I'm trying to form a relationship with them. One never knows.
Right.
But no. There was a teacher who used to call me the forbidden word in class.
Oh my God.
Right in class, in the hall, when I'd walk down the halls.
So now you're gay, I'm guessing.
You are?
I've got
Nobody knows.
My gaydar
Everyone
still
thinks
works.
I am.
But
why does it always have to be such a... No,
when did you come to that realization? Or
forever. Like I went to a private Catholic school called St. Stan's.
Oh, Stan.
St. Stanislaus. St. Stanislaus.
Like Santa Claus.
Stanislaus Kuska.
Oh,
wow.
In Adams.
You couldn't. North Adams and Adams, Mass.
And when I was there, North Adams was the teen pregnancy capital of the U.S. At the time. I don't know if it still holds the title.
Those Catholic schools do a real good job.
Then it was. And, there, I knew then. I knew I was different then. And interestingly, I found like a stack of my dad's like dirty magazines, and inside it there was a Hustler. And Hustler's the only one that ever showed
penises.
Yep.
Right.
So, and I happened to find one, and then I was like, "There's something about this."
Yeah. I wish she'd get out of the way.
On fire.
I wish that woman would get out of the way so I could see him.
Something about this. Well, so I carefully tear that page out and think I've hidden it very well in
your drawer,
underneath my dresser. And then one day, my mom and dad call me into the bedroom, and they're like, and I knew right away, as soon as I walk in, I'm like, it's a trap. You know? It's a trap. I'm like 7, and my dad's standing
7.
My dad's standing on the side of the bed, and my mom's sitting in the middle of the bed, which is particularly odd. And then they go, come on in. And everything in me is going, run, child, run!
Right, get out of here! So save yourself.
Pack a small bag. So I come in, and then they go, anything you want to tell us? That's never a good start.
Oh, right, exactly.
Because I could suddenly confess all the things they didn't know. So you're always like, no. And then they're like, are you sure? And they pull down the sheet, and there is my beloved picture.
Oh, that's such a weird way to approach it.
Oh my God.
I know, but what do you say? Is there anything you want to tell us? You're like Hustlers.
It's not mine. I've never seen it before. It belongs to the neighbor.
Right.
And then I have a wicked conscience. So then I was like, I lied, and I had committed. It is mine.
Oh, right. It's a Catholic.
With the Catholic.
But hang on. Yeah. You know what? You weren't like 12 or 13. You were 7 confessing. So how did that go?
They were like, we know. It's okay.
We know it's okay. Good.
No, not like we know you're gay.
No,
they're like because the woman was in the picture too.
The woman thought it was just.
Oh, so wait a minute, hold on.
Sexual curiosity.
Right.
There was a man standing arms akimbo. It was an ad for a book called Dr. Ian Richards, The Penis. Believe it or not, I'm writing this one woman show, one man show.
One man show.
And this is part of it. And this he's standing arms akimbo and his legs spread, and there's this woman holding his leg and like looking off into the distance, like she's.
So you kind of you use the woman as a shell.
So her boob was hanging out. She's in a shirt and her boobs out.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
well, now a question: how do you have brothers and sisters?
I have one older brother.
Older brother. Okay, so they had already been through the sexual exploration.
Well, not
with the
really.
brother.
Maybe not at
he's
7.
We're like what they call Irish twins.
Oh, you guys are like a year apart.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah, right, Tim. That's Irish twins.
Yeah.
A year apart.
Yeah, but he was a September baby, so he was actually 2 grades ahead of me.
Okay.
Even though we were
similar in age.
So close in age.
So, okay.
But you know what? At 7 years old, they didn't pin you as gay. Okay. They didn't know who you were attracted to in the picture. So you could use the woman as the consolation.
I didn't even need to. They were just like, okay,
they figured it out.
This isn't a good thing. And then all of a sudden, my dad's box was out in the trash, and my picture was never seen again.
So they threw out
the Hustler out.
They threw out the entire box.
Yeah,
my dad had a whole box of them.
That's where I was going. Your poor dad.
I know. He said that. He was like, "Oh, yeah, we were talking about that." He was like, "Yeah, like, I had lost my whole box. You made me throw it all out." The junk men were happy that day.
Yeah.
Your poor dad, right?
He always gets the short end of the stick.
Literally. My God. So that was, to the extent of it. But did you ever come out to your parents?
Yeah, like when did you discover or realize, I guess, because you got to go through your own soul searching and acceptance that you are gay, and then reveal it to other people. Yeah. It was with some people that I thought were friends. It was around 13. Wow. When I 12, 13
in Catholic school.
And
then I only had to go to Catholic school until I was in 6th grade.
Okay.
And then my parents allowed me to go
to public.
Well, after the naked picture, yeah.
Like he's
put him in
confession. So you opened up to some of your friends and they outed you?
Well, it started out okay, and then all of a sudden, right early on, everybody guarded the secret. But when I was ready to come out more, it was one of those things where everybody, we would throw up. My parents, we had a nice piece of land and had a pool and this beautiful view. So every summer we'd throw a party and everybody from the class would come over.
Oh, and nice.
Then one year they all did that. Nobody came. You know what I mean? So we got all
my God.
Nathan, that's terrible.
And I'm sitting there with my friend and she's like, nobody's coming.
Because you had told them you were gay.
Well, I don't know what it was, but it was something in the middle of the second year.
That's so
right in the lead up to my junior year. Right. It's like everybody literally, and senior year cut me right out of their lives.
Now, were there other gay kids in the school?
No.
That was going to be my question. One.
There was one extremely, the child who's born and everyone goes, that's a gay child.
Very Nelly.
Yeah. There was an extremely flamboyant, kid who also, believe it or not, went through St. Stan's.
They're cranking him out of St. Stan's.
And had a naked picture under his dresser.
Maybe. So there was. But what he was far enough behind me that it was, you know what I mean?
So that's what I mean. You were kind of the example. You were the odd man out.
I was the odd man out. Well, also keep in mind, there was only one black girl in my high school.
Wow.
And she was so bullied that she left and went to Simon's Rock, which is a private.
Oh, I know Simon's Rock really well. My daughter took Simon's Rock there,
and I was like, "Don't leave me!"
But Simon's Rock is filled with creative kids. Yep. I'm surprised you didn't just matriculate there in the summers, because there would have been tons of kids for you.
My parents.
They didn't know.
My parents love me so much. You know what I mean? Still to this day, they are my biggest fans.
I love that.
I love that. Me too.
Honestly, they'll show up at anything that I do,
which is great.
Anything,
and they have.
I'm sorry. And,
the thing is, you survive. The thing of the kids not coming to your pool party, that's very hurtful, Nathan. It really is. And I mean, we can laugh about it now, but some of this has got to play into your work as well. You're staging your plays where you grew up. So what is because I haven't read any of your plays, what do you take from where you came from?
And
you said all of your plays are set there,
or have some kind of a connection or relationship to them, or the people in them are very much, the Western Mass people. We're particular. Massachusetts people are a particular kind of person. Period.
Yeah, they are.
There's always a Massachusetts in what I write.
I find them a little cold, to be quite.
Many do.
Yeah, they're cold.
Many do. And like in my play Vacation, which is a short version of my play, The Dummy's Guide to Murdering Your Husband. That's the play I wrote that play because all of my plays are like thrillers with messages and meaning, whether or not they're not ones that hammer you. I hide them because I hate.
Right.
I hate that. So I give you a thriller, enjoy the thriller. And if you want to walk about it later and think about, oh my God, some people aren't treated fairly. You can think about it if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want it.
Right.
But this one other play, when all my friends were like, why are you writing these heavy, dark things when you're so funny? Now, number one, I think I'm deathly serious. I'm like, because I'm not funny. And they're like, well, you are. And I'm like, I'm so sick of hearing it. I'm like, I'll prove it. So I write this play, The Dummy's Guide to Murdering Your Husband, if you were going to, but you aren't. And
sounds hysterical.
All of a sudden, it's getting selected for everything. Like
so,
everything.
It's a farce, though. You did
is.
it as a stage reading and a farce.
It's ridiculous. It's freaking ridiculous. Jamie DeRoy loved it. She called it spectacular.
Wow.
Charles Bush said that it's funny, sexy, smart, and a laugh. Something. And Judy Henderson, the iconic casting director.
I know Judy.
Yep. She said it was one of the best, the best queer play she'd seen since the original Boys in the Band.
I love hearing. Wow. Now you did this.
And she cast that in 1982 or whatever.
You did this though as a stage reading, right?
Yep.
So just from a perspective of like we talked with Jamie DeRoy about production and all of that, I would love to see this play. How could you get this up and running again?
Can I tell you my plan for this?
Yes.
Absolutely.
No, please. You're with Wendy and Tim.
This is my plan. The play, it's a 3-hander, right? And it's got this older gay couple. And one is older than the other by, there's an age gap.
Right.
And then there's a twink who comes in and
you need a twink.
There's a secret to it that I'm not going to spoil. Right.
So there's
three distinct generations in it. My plan is to have a rotating cast of queer icons play the two men. Because how often, number one, do you get to play gay in a show? Number two, how many gay men are aged out of just about everything?
Older gays. Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
And then it'd just be a great way for people who maybe have never had an opportunity to be on stage. Sir Ian McKellen.
No, and that's it's
New York and be in an off-Broadway show.
Yeah.
So many people to play a small house or be connected to people one last time or one more time or run it in a long time. That's my plan.
I love that. I love that.
Everybody who reads it is, I'm telling you, nuts about it. But the interesting thing is, they're either nuts about it or they hate it. And here's why. Here's why. Like Pat Simon, one of my mentors, she read it and she read it and she goes, "This is not for me." And she goes, "It's a very specific style piece." But then she came to see the reading of it and she's like, "I get it now." Oh my God.
Okay. Sometimes things don't read off.
It doesn't.
It
doesn't.
You needed the
but
people
if you're queer, you get it.
It's
sometimes they have to see it.
Yeah,
others may have.
Or maybe if you're not queer, you get it too. But you have. For me, when I read a play, I might as well put a gun to my head. It's freaking painful.
Well, what I'm learning is great theater doesn't look good on a page.
Thank you.
It needs to be alive.
Right.
And so much of my conversation is people cutting each other off.
Right.
But when it's done in the right time, it makes perfect sense.
But that's David Mamet. That's what David Mamet does. Those are those conversations.
Yeah.
You can't get that on a paper. You got to have people up there doing
who can do it right.
Right. Because the timing is like boom, 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 boom on that.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, I'm very proud of it. And then, like my other plays.
But now we want to see it.
Listen,
I do.
Well, let's do a reading of it.
Make it happen.
I'm happy to play one of the roles.
Tim would be great for one of the roles. You don't have any female parts in that.
No.
I already looked. I didn't need you to even answer that because I love the name of it. I'm like, oh, I would love to be in something like this. And then I'm like, there's no women's parts. But
in more ways than
truly,
just parts for men. But like having this discussion, you've done this great work. What I find with theater, a lot of the time you do 1 or 2 shots out of the bag. There's not a run and that's it. We need to find a way to get projects like this to sustain some more. Even readings are not expensive to do and people would come and see them. You already have me jazzed on it, Tim jazzed on it. So just food for thought.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
The truth is what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to form relationships. I'd love to find like an artistic home that lets me, lets me create and develop and work on my work. Like very early on when the Limbo Lounge let Charles,
that was exactly what he did.
I was say, like
because I still
Crystal over
yeah.
What about doing that, Crystal? And they reopened Pyramid under another name, and there is no one has come up with the idea of my wheels are always turning doing a resident theater there because what Charles did at Limbo Lounge, that's exactly right. These places need a home, and I think it can be done for a minimum amount of money.
No, I would love that because right now
let's find that.
We're on a mission.
Yes,
I'm able to do a lot of development with there's a iconic acting teacher named Penny Templeton. She's Ramon Rodriguez.
Of course I know her.
Yeah. So many people. Sarah Winters. So many people. And she was picked by Columbia University to teach us while I was there, the film and TV aspect of it. So she and I still, of course, have a relationship to this day. And we bring my plays in and we workshop my plays with her team of like in the master's class with the great. It's kind of amazing.
That's
so incredible. I can hear very talented people really
that was
dig
my
into
point
the
exactly.
So I'm able to see things and fix things that I might have had to wait forever.
Well, that you can't tell on paper. That's the whole point.
Right.
I think anyone that's a playwright, you know, your stuff has got to come to life. When an acting teacher would give us a play to read, I still to this day hate it. The only thing I hate as much is a screenplay. I can't. I just like, let's get 5 people up there to read the thing. Don't make me sit here and read these words because I don't have the kind of head that can imagine what it needs to be. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I think there's a lot of people out there that are like that. I love the idea.
And a lot of those people are the ones who read it the first time.
Right, exactly. And there you go. So you were
but now we haven't even mentioned about I was going to say about Project Runway.
Yeah. So you
tell us about that. I'm sure a lot of people know you from that, and we haven't even.
Don't be such a secret. So you did makeup for Project Runway
for 2 seasons,
and I think it also helps that you're very handsome. That you know, if you had looked like the dog's dinner and you had good makeup, I don't think you would have been on Project. But you know, you're an amazing makeup artist. You look great. It's casting. Let's just put our cards on the table. It's casting.
Yeah. Like my first TV show that I got, which was on Discovery Channel, I only got it because I was not completely unqualified for it. They liked what I looked like. They told me that.
What was the show?
Do you know David Totera? That famous party planner who.
Oh yeah.
He had a TV show on Discovery called The Party Planner.
Oh
and
yeah, of course.
I was brought on as a party planner, and I've never planned a party in a day in my life.
Okay, now the truth comes out on here.
But you look like a party
and you know
planner.
what? I did really well. Like I planned a party for Tamara Tooney, and I got everybody in the world to donate. Literally, I got $25,000 worth of donations.
Excellent.
I love it. Was this scripted?
No.
And you just were able. It
was all reality. Cameras just around.
Wow.
And then we had to do some work when they weren't there because we really had to do the parties. It wasn't like
right.
Okay, so it wasn't just all fluff.
No. I really like my day one. I was assigned a party, like my very first day.
Well, you know what?
It out.
But you had to figure it out. You landed on both feet. And then you go on to do Project Runway, which had to be a piece of cake for
Project
you because
Runway
you do
was
faces.
Great. And they put me on all the news broadcasts, so I would go and do a lot of the news appearances, which was fun.
Right.
And very interestingly, my parents moved to Gettysburg.
Oh, I love Gettysburg. I love that part of Virginia. Yeah. It's so historical.
And I'm in a CVS with a mask and a hat on, and this woman goes, "I know you."
I love that.
A mask and a hat, and I'm like, "You don't. Right. You don't know me. My parents just have been here a couple weeks since my first time in the store." And she goes, "I know you, Project Runway." And I'm like, "Do you know I'm on Project Runway each episode, if I'm lucky, 6 seconds."
Didn't matter.
Wow.
6 seconds. Yeah. And more people have recognized me from that than anything. Like I was on a soap opera for a little while.
One Life to
Live.
Only one time was I recognized for that, once, and it was the best time. When's the best time you could ever be recognized? When you're with who? Your mother.
Of course. My son, the actor.
Perfect.
My son is
I was recognized one time, and it was when my parents were visiting. Only that's it, one.
But how cool is that?
Yep, it was fun. And no, the only time I was actually recognized a lot from the Party Planner, but it's unfair because where does Discovery Channel always play? One place you go and it's always on every TV, and the TVs are always up there. The airport. So every time I'm at the airport, everyone's going,
yeah.
Wow. That's right. And there you are. So, talking to you, you've had a lot of early success in your career. The makeup thing, did you walk into it? Did you train at Aveda? Did you work a counter at Bloomies?
Or did you do a party planner
Or
thing?
did you start
just walk in and do
it? Right, Tim. I was going to ask, did you just go out and get your kit and then you walked in and beat faces? Like, how did that happen?
Miss Lapone. I went to school for it. The thing about when I do something, I there's something about masters, mentors, and understanding the fundamentals of things.
You use school for what it is.
Which is why even with playwriting, it's like I'm learning.
Right.
I'm learning so much, and I'm trying to work with master teachers, and I'm learning so much from Charles,
I'm sure.
and again, in the mentors, the people who mentor me and look after me, you give me advice, I'm going to listen to it. I write it down.
You write it down, and then you take it and run with it.
It doesn't always make sense when you're given it.
Right.
But it might make sense 2 weeks from now.
Right.
And it might never be right. But it might be.
No, but the thing is, you consider it. You don't go in with an agenda. You go in with this open mind that you're going to suck this information. And I mean, I'm listening to what you're telling us and what you've done. Anything that you touched, you became great at, including, I'm joking about this master party planner thing, but let's face it, you never had any experience as a master party planner, and you pulled it off.
Yeah.
No, for a lot of parties. And I mean, they were good. They were really good.
Were really, really
good.
Yes,
so much so that a couple of the people on his team
wanted to hire you for their party.
They hated me so much because he started to favor me.
Right. Oh. Right.
Yeah, so
you didn't win the popularity contest.
No.
How did you end up getting so many celebrities though? I know a lot of people that do makeup in New York. A friend of mine does Sharon Stone. She always requests him. And
have you looked at my website?
That I didn't look at.
Guess what? My website, from the day I've had it, has only been like a picture. And then where it says about, it's the original gibberish that was, when you open them up.
So you really have a website.
It's not updated.
It's every single, and I've never even filled it in. There's 2 pictures up that were in Brides magazine.
Your word of mouth.
Yep, my first celebrity was Ice-T.
Oh my God.
Ice-T liked me so much, he brought Coco to set. She's like, she's gonna love you. And then Coco comes to set, and we hit it off, and it was the connections were made.
I think that a lot of things for you were that.
But the makeup, is that with the makeup?
Yeah, it would be the makeup.
Okay.
Yeah, but
so did you just start like, you know what you need? How about if we did, or did you offer like, how about if we tried this or that, or maybe a different shade over your eyes, or?
Oh, you mean when
how did you, to get in?
Oh, well, Coco and I were because Coco used to be a makeup artist. I didn't know that. So we were having this, and she's like, I always do my own because people always do it wrong. And we were having this huge conversation about makeup. And she's like, you really know your stuff. And, it took off from there. And then there were things like, when I did Paul Abdul put a tweet up about me that says, Nathan Johnson, this guy, again, something like really knows his stuff. And
I love it.
It was always like that. It was always through, every client I had was through someone else. And even the big commercials and ad campaigns that I do, there's a lot of NDA work that I do so there's a lot of that. And even the big campaigns and everything that I do, it was always, I've never had an agent.
Wow.
I've never
had
that's
what
I
wanted to ask you. And you just came in doing faces.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, because
I went to school. I learned the fundamentals.
Yeah,
but you had to have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because you were good at it.
You know what I enjoy? Human beings.
Right.
I love people.
And when you got people in a chair and you're doing their makeup.
It's an interesting thing. I love people in their most honest state.
Me too.
And when you're sitting with someone and you're working on them, they will say to you, they will open up about the things they're most insecure about. And it'll start with something, this really bothers me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or whatever. And then all of a sudden it opens up to a whole host of other things. And I'm always I
have no upper lip.
And then when I finish, we found it. That'd be the first thing you'd say when you sit down.
That's the first thing I tell every makeup artist. I have no upper lip. Do not use my regular lip line. You really need to go beyond that. It is because I don't have an upper lip.
And I think that's been I always tell people, because I teach makeup, and I always tell people, and an online makeup school, and I always tell people, you need to know the fundamentals, but the thing that's going to sell you more than anything else in this world is your likability.
Oh, totally.
Absolutely.
To people. We're all going to have, we all have bad days. It's okay.
Absolutely.
But as long as the scales tip in the favor of good, be a consistent human being.
Yeah. I always say be a good, consistent human being and have integrity.
And allow people grace, because you might have caught them on their bad day.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, that's a good point. I have to remind myself of that you're 100% right.
Give them grace.
Thank you.
And if it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, and you're seeing the scales always over here, no more grace to be given.
No,
but be kind.
Exactly.
I know
that's a toxic person.
Distance.
I know who you are.
Keep them at a distance.
And that's exactly it. It's like Charles. Charles has carved out a whole life where he works with exactly who he wants to work with.
Yes,
these people that he just loves and
that he can trust and he enjoys.
And I want a home like that. I want a home where I can develop work and have a gang of people who I just can't wait to see and throw my arms around and laugh with and experiment and try and dig into things with.
But when you look, when you read Charles's book, the way Charles writes, I had to go back. This was my nighttime reading. I would read the same page over again because there were things I missed the first time.
He's an
when you
writer.
read his, but it's a blueprint
so descriptive
of how he did it. He didn't just walk in and put this little family together.
Right.
There was one group that they taught, they tossed him out of. I think it was in Chicago or something, right? Charles gets up and knows that fit ain't for him and moves on. There were so many valuable lessons in that book. Truly, that book was life-changing for me.
Yeah.
Because I think he's brilliant, and I took what he said. When someone sees someone like Charles Bush, they think he's always been like up here and this fabulous person. And this fabulous person is vulnerable. It's in the book. Had the bad experiences in the book. Watch how he took those experiences and crafted them into something, and that is what the Bible is. That's what you have to learn.
And he did. We were sitting together one day, and I said, Charles, do you think that this would have happened for you if you hadn't made it happen?
Right.
And he thought about it for a good long time and he went, probably not.
Right.
He didn't. And the thing is, he didn't just make it happen for himself.
It's for the
he ended up making it happen with and for a lot of people. And a lot of people came forward and a lot of careers were born out of there. And I'm a big believer. We can all rise together.
Absolutely.
There's not,
same
we are all, Tim and I, and we have a whole other group of people. And we are
triangle.
Right. We are making it happen.
We can all float right to the top. It's not a triangle.
100%.
But you have to have your people that you work with. You really do. And you have to have the people that have your back.
That trust you and in your best interest to know it.
And
Absolutely.
Won't sell you out to somebody else.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
What is that? So, I always write some random freaking question down. What is it about Cyndi Lauper that you love so much? Look at you. You're just
tell us the Cyndi
I love
factor.
Cyndi Lauper, but what is it?
What is the Cyndi factor?
Person?
You know what? I'm gonna take this question. I'm gonna cycle back.
Okay.
You had said, your plays in the Berkshires, and the one thing I'm thinking now that I didn't say was, all my plays have a character in it who in some way or another is really trying to discover themselves or get their or step into themselves in their lives. And now to Cyndi Lauper, when I was in the car with my mother and Girls Just Want to Have Fun came on the radio, and I went, this is my favorite singer.
I know.
And my mom goes, you've never heard this before. And I hadn't. It was the very first time. And I said, this is my favorite singer. And she has been my favorite singer to that day.
Oh my
and
God,
I would go in and we had this separate little room and I had a record player in it. And I would just play that album. She's So Unusual all day long. And I wouldn't play it too early in the morning, and I wouldn't play it too late at night because I was so young that I believed she lived in my record player.
Oh my God, I love this.
And here's the thing.
Cyndi Lauper in my record player.
And I believed she was in my record player, so I didn't want to bother her at unreasonable times. And I was with her one day and I told her that. And want to know what she said? The most perfect thing an icon could ever say. I said, and I believed you lived in my record player. And she goes, I did, honey.
And that's what you love about her, right? Because
she's so
real.
She's so distinct into this little boy who could not be anything at all of what he was.
Right.
There was somebody
who
was living in every color, who was
true colors.
And she validated you. That's why you like. She validated you.
I love her to this day. I call her the soundtrack of my life.
She was able to be who she was, even though you couldn't be who you were.
Right.
Yeah, and through that, I knew there would be a time I could be.
There was
hope.
It was
a hope. Right. A hope.
Yeah, and which is that big song of hers. Oh, yeah. There was.
Plus, she's an incredible person.
She told me that I would be okay.
Right.
And I think she did that for millions of us. Millions of us.
There are a lot of people, as you know, that feel that way about Madonna, usually. And her fan base was based on that. Even Cameron, our producer, way younger than me. We went to the concert together. I'm like, I came up the same time as Madonna. I knew her from Danceteria before she was even famous. But I was like, Cameron, what is it about Madonna? I really wanted to know. And just, younger people identified with the songs, what they were going through at that time, what her words were. Because, a lot of people in my age group were like, oh, she can't sing. You remember early on that she can't sing. But I've got so many friends like in their 30s that she is the goddess, 30s and 40s, a goddess to them.
I love Madonna.
I do too, but it's interesting
to
me. But Cindy Lauper was your girl.
She's my one. And someone said to me, every gay guy has their diva. And I was
love it, right?
I think that's true. Because I started thinking about all my friends and I'm like, who's yours?
Barbra Streisand.
See, every gay guy has his diva.
Yours is Barbra Streisand.
Cindy Lauper wears the crown for me. And then there are a whole bunch of people who sit on the court. Bette Midler's on the court.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yes. She's on the court. Madonna's on the court.
Yes,
there's a selection of Cher's on the court.
Cher's on the court too. Oh my God.
Now, another interesting thing. Firstly, tell everybody your social media.
Yes.
And how you got that.
That is a good one, right? Please share your social media.
My social media is Nathan Walnut. Nathan Walnut, no spaces on all the platforms. And I've always been a storyteller. I guess it's true to this day. I have a nephew. His name's Logan, and he's 12. And I lie to him.
Is his last name Walnut also?
Yes.
Down the Walnut family.
So I told everybody my middle initial's W. So whenever people would see it, they'd be like, W, what's that stand for? And they'd go through a whole list of things. They'd never actually guess the real one, which is quite simple. And I would go, no, it's Walnut. And they'd go, why did your parents pick that? And I'd go, no, never asked them. And everybody left it.
Well, they left it.
They left it, and everybody bought it. And there's still people to this day that call me Nathan Walnut, who I've known since I've been like 11.
I like it though.
I love it too.
A walnut is a very nice nut to be. It's got great texture.
Great for your brain.
And a great shape, great texture. Right. Great for your brain.
So you can find Nathan Johnson at Nathan
Walnut
on all social media.
Ever forget it. Tim, we have a lot of comments. Can you see that? Tim and I can't see the comments. I need something to blow the screen up.
Okay.
Tim knows how to scroll and I don't.
Rose Trentman says hello from Texas.
Hello, Rose. Thank you for tuning in. And she loves, I made a video with her coat. Gorgeous. Her nephew's an amazing designer. You should own one of his coats, and I wore it in the video.
And Dawn Hinton.
I love you, Dawn.
Says sending so much love.
Thank you.
Alan.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you.
Our dear friend who's a designer in Massachusetts, actually.
Yes, Sue's amazing designer and Chihuahua person.
She says hello.
So do I.
Hello, dolls.
I'm part of a Chihuahua group. Now it's all coming out. I'm part of it. That's the only way I can impress you. Part of a Chihuahua group. Do you have a short hair Chihuahua or a long hair?
A short.
And what color?
She is lilac.
Oh, I know the color.
Yeah.
And she's what, 5 pounds?
She's 6.
She's 6. Nugget is 6 pounds. Blue Merle, long hair Chihuahua, not fixed. Mama couldn't bear to mutilate him. Okay. Oh, comments. I'm sorry.
Scott Patrick was after me. Scott Patrick was after me.
Scott Patrick, what?
Did I work with Scott Patrick? Scott Patrick was after me.
Okay, wait. Michael Luisi is on there. Michael, we always love seeing you.
In Brooklyn.
And a lot of you will see you Thursday night at Julia Spark. Cameron Cole, our producer.
Okay, so Cameron had asked, what was it? I can't read that.
Scott Patrick.
Scott Patrick.
Yeah, he was Project One Way.
When you were on.
Okay, so that's what you were saying. He came after you.
Yeah, I was season 4 and season 5. Leanne Marshall and Christian Siriano.
Okay. George Lehman said nice. Dawn Hinton is living for the dude's hair. Yes, Dawn.
Yes.
He has good. He does. It's a thick. Are you Scotch or just Irish? Because you have Scotch.
Irish, French, English, all that stuff over there.
All right, because I know the hair is like amazing.
And Suze Genero says, love this show. Thanks you 3 for
doing this. Suze, thank you for always like tuning in. Our beloved Gladiola Gladwags. We were just in Drag to Death, which is a film you'll be hearing more about. Gladiola, of course.
Says love this, and Scott is so cute. I think she means you.
She means you. It's okay. Nathan, Scott,
Patrick.
I'll take it.
Scott Patrick. Yeah.
All right. Lisa Jenkins. Hi, Lisa in Milford, right? He was here in Milford, Pennsylvania, Lisa, at the Readers and Writers Festival. So And then Sue's, Mr. Beans, her Chihuahua, of course, is 6 pounds. Sue's is a Chihuahua person. Are you a possum person also?
I kind of like everything.
You do, alive. Me too, right? Same.
But I have one exception. I do not like.
Snakes?
Oh no, I'm not. I don't like snakes or bugs or things
like that. Oh, okay.
No. And I do not like sneaky cats.
Oh, sneaky cats. Well, there you
know the ones that you like. You walk by and they reach out and scratch you.
Yeah, right.
I do not like sneaky cats, but beyond that, I'm good.
That would be a good name for a rock band, Sneaky Cats. I just channeled that. Anyway, Nathan, you're so terrific. What's your projects coming up?
There's a big announcement that's going to be coming soon.
Yay!
And there's a bunch of fun, and I'm talking to 2 great artistic directors that might be able to maybe, and the conversations, the relationships, they get formed. I'm still submitting, and I'm working with Charles and Carl Andrus on Ibsen's Ghost, which will be opening.
When is it? Do you know the date it's opening?
The exact date? No,
it's in March, right? Like the second week in March, maybe.
Yes. Follow Nathan Walnut.
Well, Nathan Walnut.
And Nathan Walnut will announce it on all social media.
Nathan Walnut. There's something to be said for doing that, because I'm fluffy 26 on everything. People remember, but they say, what's the fluffy? I live with English Angora rabbits that are loose in my New York apartment. They're fluffy. So that's where all my contact fluffy came from. So you're a walnut, I'm a fluffy. Tim, what are you?
I don't know.
Tim is like, I'm just gay.
We know.
All right. No longer a secret. That's right. It was a tell-all show here today on If These Walls Could Talk. We are having too much fun. You are fabulous. Do never lose your creative energy. Take whatever somebody says to you, and I know you run with it, even if it's negative. And you know what I mean by that. Take it and twist it in your head and use it for yourself. I can tell you that.
And write about
it. Just take it in. And I don't have to tell you, surround yourself with what you're doing right now. The magic, I call it the magic circle. It's the people we work with, the people that support us. And it's the people we will make magic with, because that's what we're all doing at the end of the day. Okay, that's.
Oh, I forgot to tell you one thing.
Oh my God!
Good. I love this.
There is going to be a reading of my show in Vermont with the Oculus Theater Company at Old Castle in Vermont.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay, well, that we can't get to, but here we can.
Well, this one is it's a family drama that's set in the Berkshires.
Okay.
Can you tell us what the family drama was? Being I can't get up to Vermont.
It is about. It's about. Well, this is one of the dark ones. It's kind of like the trauma that gets handed down through us, but it manifests itself in different ways.
Right.
So in one generation, it's manifesting itself in alcohol, and in another generation, it's manifesting itself in disease.
Wow.
And it's a story of this family coming together and finding some peace. You know what I mean? And that question: are we subject to the path that we have to walk because of our genetics, or can we change that? Can we reprogram it and maybe come out of the cycle of whatever it may be, death?
Break the cycle.
What do you personally think? Because I think about this a lot. What do you personally think? Like, if we know it's genetic, can we, through our brains, reprogram the outcome of that? What do you think? I talk about this a lot.
It's a funny thing. My thoughts on this are quite complicated because I believe it's a hard thing.
It's not easy.
Once you hear it's genetic, you sort of surrender.
You're right.
So we have to. There's a moment where you have to be like, but I don't. I don't. And then you have to make a decision to take action.
And you have to work at it.
Yeah.
I think what Tim just said. I think because whether it's pre-programmed or not, that could be in you. And you're right. You've got to work at changing the stage picture and always have to have it appear that is what you're doing. You can't lose that.
Yeah. And in the play, the father's vice is he drinks, right?
Right.
And then with the child had made a decision never, ever, ever to drink. But guess what? It snuck in through a different way. So it's, see what I mean? So it's like, then you gotta,
so it's like more than just alcohol.
Yeah, it's that question. Is it, and that's it. Are we, if we're if say
predestined,
it asks me, if the family tree is broken, right? Someone was supposed to die, and because of our amazing modern medicine, they didn't. Was everybody after them? Are they all supposed to die? And in some way or another going to be on a path to quick destruction because because that original branch didn't die, and you shouldn't be here because natural selection tried to kill that person.
Right.
But medicine saved them. Are we all doomed to either be born with genetic issues or be predisposed to make choices that will kill us?
Well, then you get into Darwinism,
and that's
on top of it.
That's right, underlining hidden in the play, but just in a family relating. That's what.
Honey, I broke the cycle in my family in so many ways.
Tim broke the mold, but it does bring me back to like reading that on paper. I couldn't do it. I would love to see this play now. You know? Do you have on YouTube or any of your plays on YouTube where people can go to YouTube and
because if they're somewhere like that, no place is going to touch them.
Yeah, that's
true.
Yeah,
right.
So I have to. I'm trying. I'm really hoping to form some relationships and have a home.
Now, one of the play, or just real quick, one of the theaters that you said, I think you had performed at. Magnetic, was it Magnetic?
I was just down.
Was that in Asheville?
Asheville, right?
Asheville. We did 50 Shades of Gay down there at the Magnetic Theater, and I think they just closed because we wanted to return there.
They closed.
I think who was the artistic director when you did it?
I don't remember.
Was it Katie Jones or was it a man?
I don't remember.
Interesting. No, my
but
reading
I think
that was
the one. I think it was the Magnetic. Yeah,
we did a developmental reading, and it was very eye opening. I learned a lot.
Well,
like a black box theater.
Yeah. Did you see it?
No. Did I see what?
The stream of the. No,
because Tim was doing 50 Shades of Gay there at the same theater, but it's sad that it closed.
Well, they're now, I think it's called an emeritus one. They don't have a home.
Okay,
but they're still doing their work, but they go into
because they would do more experimental. They're kind of in that vein where they would be open to more experimental works.
Yeah, I mean, they took mine.
Yeah.
Mine are, I'm telling you, mine are well-structured plays, but they're
risky.
Right.
I can't wait. I totally can't wait to see one. No. They're not safe.
I love that.
Now you've piqued my interest. Thank you so much, Nathan, for being here.
Nathan Johnson. My God, this was wonderful.
I have to tell you, before we say goodbye, when I first met Nathan at the Readers and Writers Festival, standing next to Charles Busch, I read people very well. And Nathan was one I made a mistake on. I looked at you and I introduced myself to you and you just kind of smiled and like, okay, he's terribly good looking. People tell him he's terribly good looking. He's probably one of those writers that's full of himself. I had made all of those judgments. And then I start talking to this guy and I'm like, Wendy, you stupid bitch. Why would you have even thought that he's nice on top of everything else? He's really smart. And we had this great conversation. So don't ever go with your first instincts. I learned something from Nathan Johnson that day.
I'm shy, is I think the reality.
It is. Yes, you are. That's exactly what I found out. And I sometimes confuse shy people with people that are stuck on themselves. That's Wendy's lesson.
And especially because of my career, and when people meet me, they think I'm very there. And if I know you, then good luck shutting me up. Right. But if I don't, there needs to be something that connects us. Otherwise, there's a fear thing on my side.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But I'm so out and I have no filter or anything. If someone doesn't respond to me immediately, I'm like, oh my God, they're so, but I had to learn that, so I learned a valuable lesson.
Well, I have to say, I'm really
realizing.
But I'm also really glad because I've heard people have said to me before, you just seem, you seem unapproachable. And I don't want to seem that way ever to anybody. So.
No, I can understand that. But when a person is, I'm sorry, but you are very good looking. You could see you from the other side of the room. No, it is. It's true, right? No, I know, and I know that you don't, but you were. And other people asked me who you were, and I'm like, I don't know. He doesn't look very approachable, but I'm going to go over that because you were standing next to Charles Busch, and Charles is all like crazy and wacky, so you can kind of. Charles is, when he's not doing anything, the corners of his mouth curl up. So, he's an easy laugher, smiler. And you can, when you read people's faces, and I'm like, what the heck? I'm going to go over to this guy. And I started talking with you. And we
talked for a really
I'm so glad but I had my third wine already. No, I'm joking. But I was so glad that I did that because you are approachable, delightful, and amazing. You're creating amazing work, and I was determined to track you down so you could come on the show and share that with our audience.
No, I'm so honored, and I was so excited.
Well,
when you even suggested it, I was thinking, oh, well, that's probably never going to happen.
Well,
what
I mean? I'm not that. You see, you couldn't tell I wasn't that.
But the part of me was that thing inside me that was just like, I was so excited.
Right. That makes us feel so good.
I was just so excited because so many people that I love have come on this with you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, that's that's how we roll. So thank you for being here today.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you, everybody who tunes in
Nathan
today. We'll be back next week. See you.